All right, we are recording. So I'm here with my friend Pam, and I have Hawaii behind me, pretend, and she's in Hawaii for real. And so it's great to talk to you, Pam.
It's always nice to see you, Tron.
Yes. So I don't know how many people know who you are, but
Well, my name is Pam Domingue, and I am been in the storage business since 2007. I'm on the board of the California Self-Storage Association and also at Kureit, which you're a huge supporter. Thank you. And I love this industry.
yeah, it's been fun. And the thing that I always enjoy is just how generous you are with your time, with your efforts, with your contributions to some of the charity groups, and you know the way you're always willing to help people and help them figure things out. And it's one of the wonderful things about the storage business is there's so many folks like you who are just generous and happy to help, and it's wonderful.
You know, when we got into this business, I think we came from the polar opposite, from the car business, where nobody helps anybody and it's cutthroat. And I was very fortunate to meet some people that helped me on my journey and helped us along the way and gave me some great advice, and they're still there if I have a question. And so it's been a wonderful experience to be able to see new people come into the industry and be able to help them the way others helped me.
Yeah, that's been great. And your involvement with the California Storage Association has been great. And I've always loved that association, and they've done so many things and so many wonderful people working there. So what are some of the things that kind of stand out from your time helping the California Association?
We're very proactive. We always have been. As you know, we have a new director. But I spent many years working with the previous director, and you know, when California is such a large state, when things happen, they usually start in California. So we've had a few battles, a few cases, some legislative issues, and you know, I'm proud to say that the association's worked very hard for its members and continues to do so with the new director.
Yeah, and I think the work you've done at the California Association has made the storage industry so much better everywhere, because, you know, if something happens in California, everybody listens, you know, and it probably lists 27 things over the years that happened in California that helped everybody else. So that's been pretty tremendous, really.
We always, we have a joke that every chairman has its battle. So every time we have a new chairman, there's a new battle that year. So this year it's COVID, so you know, something's always happening in California.
That's for sure. That's crazy. And you know, you've always been a big support to us at the Hawaii Unconference too. And some people may not know you've got a pretty deep and long connection in Hawaii, so that's kind of fun too.
We do. We were very fortunate to find out about a property out here back in 2016. Actually, it was a fluke. I came out to visit family, and on my way to the airport to go see or to go for vacation, we ran by a property and found out that it was for sale. So we quickly did a handshake, called the owner. He came down and met us on our way to the airport and kind of shook hands on it. And it's been a great property. I have ties to the island. My mother was born and raised here. Wonderful. And I love it. It's in my blood.
That is so neat. I mean, I know several people who have great self-storage vacation stories where they, you know, bumped into a deal or found something just because they were driving.
Who else is on vacation and goes to look at storage facilities? I mean, we're a unique breed for sure.
Oh, that's pretty great. Well, and I know Hawaii's been a challenge for you during all this COVID nonsense. I know you were there before the lockdown started. And
it has, yes. I was here and got locked down, and so I made the decision to stay, hoping that they would release the quarantine and I could go back and forth. Typically, I come out about once a month. We did have a management company that didn't work well for us, and we're doing well on our own. So we kind of decided that, you know, if I come out and spend 5-6 days here a month, things are going great. Unfortunately, didn't plan on COVID, so I am sitting here day by day wondering what's going to happen and if they're going to release the quarantine and put us back on lockdown.
Yeah, it's been a challenge. And I know for many businesses, COVID has been so difficult. And I think in many ways, we were fortunate in self-storage that we've been moving towards self-service and online everything and all of that for a number of years, that for a lot of people, that transition wasn't too difficult early on. But still, it poses so many challenges. And I'm sure there's unique challenges at your sites too. I mean, are you in 3 states now with sites?
We're in 2 states, and I look at properties in that 3rd state and I say, I don't know if I could do it right now, but we're in 2 states, and having to follow the directions of the governors in both states is challenging. I don't know how some of the larger companies are doing it. Every state, every county, every city has its own directives, and they change constantly. And it's just, in the beginning of the COVID crisis, it was almost a full-time job just to keep track of everything that was happening.
Right, and things change every day. So, anyone who's got more than a handful of sites, I mean, they're tracking a different set of rules probably for every site.
Luckily, I'm only in 2 counties in California. Actually 3, sorry. Forgot about one of them, but they've got a great system in that county, and they actually are updating us constantly. So I do get information. The other 2, I have to scout for information to find out what, in the beginning, whether masks were required or not required, and whether we were essential in that city, and all of it. It was a challenge. And these larger companies that have hundreds of stores across the US, I don't know how they're doing it. Yeah,
it'd be tough. And then they're dealing with some of these other issues too, where I saw in Ontario, California, they passed a regulation to stop all lien action. And, other places have no evictions, but you can take the lien process through to eviction. And wow, that's a lot to digest.
California has, I think it's 5 or 6 cities now that have a no lien moratorium, starting with LA, Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga. We've been following them closely. Luckily, I'm not operating in any of those.
Good.
We're trying to work with people. We don't want to sell anything, especially during this time. But most of the sales we've had were people who were past due prior to the COVID crisis. So, at some point, you just have to be able to empty those units.
Yeah, I mean, because what's going to happen is you're going to get to 100%, and 10% of your customers will be non-paying customers, and you won't have room for new paying customers.
That's right. And we have price gouging laws in California as well, so you can't raise rates.
Yeah. So it's a lot of challenges we're dealing with. And and then by the time we get to the unconference in Hawaii in next October now, I can only imagine the scars everyone will have. I mean, hopefully everyone who goes will have, at least their family and friends will have survived this and been well. I mean, I know several people who've passed away, and some people who were sick and just had some horribly scary days. So, I don't want to make light of it at all, but it'll be fascinating to hear everybody's stories and what we think the future is going to look like.
Yeah, that's anybody's guess at this point. I have a little bit of a different perspective being out here right now with the economy is based on tourism, and tourism is shut down. So businesses are shutting down, people are out of work, unemployment's about 40%, 43%. And on top of that, they can't get unemployment checks out because there's, an $80 million fraud going on. So it's really scary what's happening and what can happen to an entire state in just a few months. So we luckily haven't had it. It hasn't affected a lot of our customers yet, but I think we're still early. I think it will.
Yeah, it seems like, we're very early on in this. I mean, I guess there was a time, somewhere in May when everyone was feeling a little bit hopeful, but I don't know. Seems pretty early right now.
Yeah, we remember when we put things off for a month or 2 thinking it was all going to go away.
Right.
Yeah, now we're coming up on September and there's no end in sight. And it's really frightening.
It is, and you know, when I talk to some of my consulting clients, I don't really know what to tell them. You know, they're used to me saying, "Hey, let's do this," or "How about that?" or "Here's something
You
that
know,
works. Try it your
you
way."
don't know. You don't know. You have the problem with the economy, the customers. Now you have the state or the city imposing obstacles to you running a business. Um, any county is susceptible to having an increase, and they decide to go on a shutdown again, which we're looking at possibly here in Hawaii. So
Right.
you just don't know. You don't know if you'll be allowed to operate. We were in most counties and cities, self-storage was allowed to operate because we
Yes.
do support in not all of them, but in most, we do support a lot of essential businesses. Now, the next time around, will that happen? We don't know.
Right. And I think that's absolutely true. We support so many essential businesses, but if it gets, you know, if it gets to a certain point, it'll be a whole new set of rules again. So, you know, I'm just hoping that, you know, everyone's doing what they can, and the helpers, you know, all the researchers and the vaccine developers and the heads of health departments, I know they're pedaling as fast as they can go, and kind of, you know, it's like they're cooking dinner on their bicycles, right? Making it up as they
Yep.
go. But hopefully they'll continue to get support, and, you know, we'll start to see some direction.
Yeah, that's not a short-term thing though either. I mean, would you take a vaccine that they just developed that they had on the market for 3 minutes?
I would tell you, I would not be the first one in line.
Exactly. I mean, and I'm not nervous about flu shots or any of that, but I have to admit they're rushing this to the point where I'm thinking twice, like, would I just go out and
Right.
let them give me a vaccine? I don't know.
No, I mean, I am absolutely going to get the vaccine at the right time, but uh, maybe not in the test round, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I hope there is something soon, or I hope they figure out what can help people. Maybe it's existing pharmaceuticals that we have, or, you know, I hope
Yeah,
there's something, because I think our economy needs to get back to work. We've got to get back to people getting out and doing things. I'm very concerned about what I see with the schools going on
yes.
and the kids, and it's a whole new world.
Yeah, and right, and there's so many effects that, you know, kids are growing up with a very odd socialization, if I could say it right, with mobile devices now. But if they're going to have no friends around because they can't be with friends, I mean, it's going to be a whole different upbringing than what we would like. It's going to be
It's,
strange.
I have a friend from high school who's a teacher, and she shared that she had a situation on Zoom that turns out she teaches freshmen. I think
Yeah.
it's freshman English. And there were some people staying on the Zoom class after, and turns out there was a couple girls that wanted to flirt with a boy on Zoom on her class. So she was laughing and said, "This is the new world of flirting."
Well, they're trying to be normal, right? They're trying to have a normal life. Gosh. Oh,
Yeah, no, as a high school kid, I would have been happy not to have to study for the SATs. I guess that's going away, but
right,
hey.
right. That's something. Or, you know, I wouldn't have had to get on the bus, so I might not have complained about that. So,
Yeah, that would have been nice.
oh man. Well, so
It'd be
what
interesting.
are you seeing in your operations right now? Are you finding some new and interesting things you hadn't thought about before?
We are, you know, we've kind of been jumping on the mobile bandwagon for a while, but we are seeing that increase. We are using, you know, the store local website has been great, and so we are getting a lot of online rentals. We are getting a lot more people to sign up for online payments. You know, self-storage is interesting. You can be as mobile as you want, but there are people that still want to walk in your office every month, catch up, shoot the bull, sit down, talk to everybody to make their payment. I have customers here in Hawaii that come back after they've moved out just to update my staff.
Right. Just to check
So,
in, right?
yep, just to check in, see how things are going. So that's been a transition for a lot of people. We're not really seeing a ton of move in or out,
Mm-hmm.
but and our delinquencies are up a little bit, They actually weren't up too much for the first few months, but now we're starting to see with some of the prolonged periods of people being out of work. So I think we're going to see delinquency issues creeping up, and we're perfectly willing to work with anybody if they want to work with us.
Sure.
But I don't, people still need storage. They still need, or they have it and they're not willing to get rid of it. So that's a plus for us, for the business.
Well, and I think it's a plus for them too, because if we get to the point where we were in, 2008, 2009, when people were getting evicted and having to downsize and all that sort of thing, in that round of madness, people were able to keep most of their stuff because they had it in storage. So as things kind of recovered, they didn't have to go spend $20,000 on furniture because they had their stuff still. So there's a value in that.
I do think that we will see some of that in the next, probably not in the next month or two, but perhaps after that. At some point, these landlords cannot keep, so it's the same with us. We can't just let somebody stay forever and not pay. And at some point, the landlords are going to have the same issue. By giving people a moratorium on rent, they're just not going to be able to catch up. So we're prolonging the inevitable, and I think that there will be mass evictions probably somewhere towards the end of the year, which is horrible timing. But it just, I see both sides of it. I see the people that are out of work, but I also think there are jobs out there. And I think there are some people that are paid more right now not to work. And we have a tenant. We have a small little shop attached to one of our storages.
Mm-hmm.
She got unemployment and she got her rent, but she decided to travel with it.
Yeah.
instead of paying her rent for this shop, she decided to go, travel through California and spend a month on the road. And there's a lot of poor decisions like that. I don't think people are really ready for what's going to happen, and so we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see how it all shakes out. And in the past, whenever things have been kind of gnarly like that, people have needed self-storage. So I think, we're going to be less worse off than, I don't know, name a business. There's probably a lot of them that are going to have a hard time because
the mom and pop bookstore that's not allowed to open up.
Yes. Or the restaurants that, in the end, they can't make it on to go,
Yeah, or they're small enough that they can't they can't do a 30% occupancy or whatever's required in that county and still survive.
Right.
It's really sad. I mean, I have a friend he's an insurance agent, and he insures a restaurant. And the restaurant spent $27,000 on produce for opening and was forced to shut again.
Oof.
So that kind of stuff is going on all over. How many more hits can those restaurants take? I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Not many. I mean, I guess I was pretty concerned early on because a couple big chains in our town shut down within like the first week of the lockdown. I thought, my gosh, they're cutting and running this early. There's either they're running a terrible business or they know something we don't know, and it's probably not the first one.
Well, it's probably smart because, I talked to a few people out here that have restaurants, and operating at a loss with to-go orders is worse than, you're bringing people back. You still got to have the employees back and all of that, and new procedures. And it's almost better to shut the doors and not have that cash going out.
Yeah.
So
that's a lot of tough decisions are going to continue to be made. So we'll see what happens with all that.
Yeah, I hope everybody supports their local businesses because they need it. They need it more than Walmart and Target. The local small shops need everybody's support if you want them to stay in business.
Yeah, I know that's what we're doing is we're trying to support the folks we know in town, and we know a lot of people in town who have completely changed their spending habits, and they're tipping local businesses now who used to never even get tips because they just know, we got to keep the local people going.
Yeah, I know. And a few places out here open. I tipped very well and was very appreciative that they opened their doors. And, I do believe that most of those businesses can open safely. and take precautions. I don't think they need to be closed. I think they can operate safely, but it's going to take the community to support them and to keep supporting them to get through this.
Well, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. So, well, I sure appreciate you spending some time and sharing some of your insights. And
sorry, we're not doing it on the Big Island.
Yes, hopefully we will see you on the Big Island. Unless a year and a half isn't enough time to get it together, we'll see. So.
Well, hopefully, I think I'm planning on it, and I've got a few people that have committed to coming. So.
Yeah, we'll be there. It's going to be something else to really regroup the tribe and see what we can do, and at the same time, make sure to raise some money for our friends at Kureit who are doing such great work, and they're still working through the pandemic, and so.
And that's a good point. Remember that few charities that I support, they're having a tough time too. We're not able to hold any of our events this year. We've had to postpone them. People just don't have the disposable income that they did a year ago. So, it's a tough time. If you can help somebody out, all donations accepted, whatever your local charity is.
Yeah, and it's tough on the charities because they may get support from other places, but the $25 or $50 or $5 a month they get from people really keeps them going. And they're all working on, so many great projects. So we got to keep.
Here's to 2021.
Here's to 21. That's right. Well, say hello to Jack for me. I'm so glad you had some time. And, hopefully you'll be able to go to the beach soon. That's my wish for you. So
I'm hoping that they open up. Yes, it's really tough looking at it, not being able to do anything about it.
That's right.
Take care.
Well, so how can people find you if someone wants to ask you about what's going on at the California Association or get some
I'm on the California website, the Storage Association website, or email me at pam@storagesolution, no S on the end.com. And I'm happy to answer any questions or anybody needs advice on something. And if I can't help them, I will find somebody who can.
Well, thank you so much. It's been great visiting with you, and aloha, take care.
Aloha, mahalo.